council meeting for September 6th, 2022. I'll call the meeting to order. It is 7:08 p.m. We do have a couple of suggested agenda additions from our SAO. One would be to have a Sergeant John Cormier added as a delegation. So that would be under Delegations A, John Cormier. And under Old Business, which is item number 9, we could go C, because there's already an A and B, and we could do Development Appeal Board Appointment. Development Appeal Board Appointment. And with those two suggestions, does anybody else have any items they want to add or delete from this agenda? Okay. Then I'll read the motion, which is that by Councillor Les Wright, seconded by Councillor McPherson, that Council adopt the agenda of regular meeting RM15-2022 as I'll put amended. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3. Okay, 3 in favor, none against. Motion's carried. Any declarations of interest by any of the councillors this evening? I myself don't have any. Anyone? No? Okay. Councillor absences.
Oh, there's mine.
Okay. So we've got Councillor Tetso. I'm going to, well, first of all, before we make up a motion, I think we can, let's go through the list. Yeah.
There's a motion.
Oh, there is one for the absences? Okay. Okay, right there, yes.
See, I do read motions.
I've got it. Okay, Councillor Tetso, has he notified anybody that he wouldn't be here, or is he on holidays or something? We don't know. We didn't hear anything. Okay, well, we can't excuse somebody if they didn't let somebody know here. We've got 2 resignations, so we don't worry about that. And who's the last?
Troy.
Troy, okay. I know he is in Edmonton. So I guess we'll put him down. Yeah. All right, so moved by Councillor Wright, seconded by Councillor McPherson, that Council excuse Councillor Bellefontaine from regular meeting RM15-2022. All those in favor? Okay, 4 in favor, none against. Motion is carried. And we've got delegations, and Sergeant John Cormier, if you'd like to come up to the table, you can sit there or at the end, wherever you're right.
On the camera here.
Okay, and thank you for coming down to our meeting tonight and giving us a rundown, a little brief report, in addition to thank you very much for giving us the full policing report. And I'll turn it over to you if you want to highlight anything that.
Sure, sounds good. Yeah, it'll be brief there. So, those that don't know me, I'm John Cormier, who's not here full time. Hopefully, by the end of next week, we'll be here. We're just waiting for a home again to be finished. So, I wouldn't be done. Okay, so calls for month of August, we had 164 calls for service. Which is not overly, it's about the same numbers that we ran last year, this month of the year as well. For the community priorities for this year under annual performance plan, we still have the same ones for this fiscal year. Community policing by crime prevention, and contributing to safety and wellness of the community by having community involvement. Under the community priority for crime prevention, we didn't do any presentations this month. We had some members on leave. We're planning to restart that this month and during this quarter as well too, coming up. We had 4 check stops during the month. 41 vehicles were screened and 4 individuals were warned for minor offenses. And we had 26 youth. We started, I'm not sure if it was related before in previous meetings, but we had the community justice program. Norm was able to provide us some funding for doing any proactive policing, positive ticketing program. We started earlier this year by enforcing good actions. So it could be giving a gift card to a person wearing their seatbelt, or giving slushies to youth wearing their helmets, or using the crosswalk, and so on. So for during this month, we handed out 28 slushies, ice cream to Unity by following the rules of the road on bicycles. So that's been a really positive program as well too. We also do the same as well too in the out community as well too. Kind of hard to give some slushies for Unity there in Trout Lake, but we find ways to use the funding in different ways as well too, by providing them some different prizes and stuff like chocolate bars and candies and stuff like that. So for the community involvement, we had Corporal Martin and Constable Harvey, who were here last month. They attended the moose tanning ceremony held in the community. We also had a meeting with Chief Antoine as well too. And for some communities that we're going to be talking about today as well too, there are community issues. And as mentioned before, we had some youth involvement as well too with the positive ticketing program as well. No notable occurrences for the month. Community concerns, and we can get more into details in regards to that. I am personally aware of the drug issue in the community. I've been kind of reviewing the issues from afar while I was in Fort Smith. I was kind of keeping an idea of what was going on. We are aware of the issue. I am aware of the issue, and of course, we can't divulge much, but we are working on it as well. I'll leave it as these are complex investigations. We require patience in those because they do take time. We have to have judicial authorization for them, so we have to build a case for us to be able to get the authority to do something. But we are aware of it. So it's, again, just have the public patience for that. I do encourage people that want to help out. I know that there's some information that was provided in the past where Crime Stoppers was not a viable option. It is a viable option. So if people come to you personally, or you hear people that ask, please encourage them to go to Crime Stoppers, because we can use that information. Any information is good information. So I came from a drug background personally, or OIC, Inspector Ryu. He used to be a unit commander for a drug unit as well too. So we have the expertise with it. I'm not saying that I'm an expert, but we do have the background for it. But it's just a matter of time. So if you do have people coming to you asking for how to help by staying anonymously, please encourage them to Crime Stoppers. Okay. For community police activities not identified in the APP, we had Constable Thomas. He went to do a joint patrol with the boat with Parks Canada. They patrolled South Nahanni River up to Dead Man Valley. I'm not sure where that is, but he took some nice pictures, and he came back really nice and rejuvenated.
Use that for recruiting.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, I'm kind of curious if I can just transfer to Parks Canada, because that's what they do.
They carry a gun now.
Yeah, exactly. And I just really took. This was a really nice picture. Good to the town, to whoever built this. Is a great project. So I just like the pictures I just shot. So, in regards to statistics for the month, just to go over a couple of things. Not as many violent crime as for assaults as last year. Like we had 26 assaults last year in August. We had 17 this month for this year. 12 for break and enters last year this time of the year. Usually summers is usually break and enter season. Not to put a season to it, but it happens more. Kids get bored, and it happens more often. We've had 2 this month this year, so not as, which is a good sign. Youth are more active and more involved in better things, which is good. The same with thefts as well too. We had 10 last year. For this month we had 2 this year. Bit more Liquor Act incidents, alcohol, and again, comes back to the addiction and substance abuse and stuff like that, which we're trying to help with right now. Disturbance as well too, all related to alcohol. I think there's some duplicate here, but and other complaints with 30. So overall, we had a bit less calls than last year or this month, but not a huge difference. We had 170 for August of 2021. We have 164 for this month of this year. So prisoner held, we had 10 last year. We had 5 for this month. So our prisoner counts it definitely shows into our overall prisoner count, because we're higher already than we were last year. The total for the year last year. So it does. So the substance all relates back to the substance abuse as well too, which is a main contributing factor of why we would lodge someone, because we have to find all other solutions before we consider lodging someone in their cells. That's pretty much it in a nutshell. So open to questioning. Like I said, if there's any questions with regards to what I mentioned. So.
Anybody have any questions for Sergeant? Yes.
Thank you. I don't. In fact, it's not a question. It's just a comment. I noticed from the report, and it's very nice way of presenting the report. It's very alarming to see that 516, 320% the drug trafficking rise. It raised 320%, and until now we are not at the end of the year. So I believe that drug trafficking is not only the RCMP's responsibility; it's all of us, community organizations, municipality, individuals. It's all our responsibility to keep this community safe. But this number is really very high.
Mm-hmm. It got higher for sure.
Increased 300 before the end of the year. That's very high. Thank you.
Yeah, we did have 16 over 5. You're good at math compared to I am. It is a higher for sure than last year. I do believe the same as well too, and I'll come from previous detachments that I was in. People say, well, what are the RCMP doing about it? Well, we only know what we know. So if nobody's coming and giving us the information, it's hard for us to act on it. So we can't have our eyes everywhere. Even if we had 4 times the amount of members, and those are hard to, they're ones that are more concealed offenses. They're not broad daylight. They go around to try to hide those things. It's not like an assault, but we can see it happening. They're harder to investigate, but again, they do take time because it's not as easy as us entering a dwelling without having, or to preserve life, for example. We do have to have the judicial authorization to get the grounds for that. So, but yeah, I do agree with you, Council. It's again, if it comes to you that there's a drug issue, encourage, and we have a social media as well too for the Northwest Territories. Actually, our OIC of the South District, Inspector Ryu, who's responsible for this district here, including Fort Simpson. He's our social media advocate there for the Northwest Territories. So I did mention to them, maybe sometimes I'm not a big social media person, so but with Twitter and all that stuff, that's probably a good thing to have just to remind people, right? So,
Well, we know you're busy. Is the detachment fully staffed now?
We are the highest that we've been in a long time. So we just had our 8th member coming in.
Okay.
So but that's between, 2 positions are completely attributed to it Wrigley. So technically we're 6 for Fort Simpson, but we all work together between Fort Simpson, Trout Lake, JMR, and Wrigley as well too.
Mm-hmm.
But we are at a better number, and me being here right now permanently, kind of going back and forth because my family's still in Fort Smith. I count myself in that 8 as well too. So, but we are doing really good.
Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Councilor Hassan?
Thank you. I have a question. Thank you. Is it possible that I know that previous years the members they used to go to the school and approach the students in the school and give them awareness, like kind of awareness lectures or little talk to the students. Do you
Yeah.
guys have a plan to do it in
We're
this
approached by
time?
it, we can always do it. There's no, their program, that's, their same piece decision to remove themselves from the actual DARE program.
Okay.
It used to be a very, I don't know why, but again, it's not the decision, it's beyond me. But we can always go do presentations on any topic. The same goes with the seniors' homes as well too. We did some in the past with any fraud, because usually we have those fraudsters that will call and take advantage of people that don't really have the knowledge of that stuff. So we can always do, and the town office as well too, we can do presentations on pretty much any crime topic that we, and if we don't have the information, we can always ask or outsource to other agencies as well too, and ask them as well too. I mean, I've done countless recruiting presentations, crime stop presentations, drug presentations, fraud, domestic abuse, tolerance, and all. There's plenty of topics we can do presentations on. I did talk to Ben about that because somebody approached me about their program. Ariel Stewart or Constable, she's their school liaison for here. She's also reached out to the new principal? Is she new at the high school? Of how we could assist in presentations there as well too. If they want, and again, it's all about what they want as well too. We're not going to go and if they want to have a presentation, they can always reach out and we'll make the arrangement. And the same with the elementary school as well too. But yes, to answer, I'm French and I talk a lot, but yes, to answer your question, yes.
No, well, we appreciate all the good work you're doing and your efforts towards working with the community to kind of deal with the drug problem, which, as you say, I think a lot of people are talking about that. And, the fact that the numbers are up, I think it's just indicative as well that, you're taking it seriously to keep the street too.
And these are only things that are reported. It's very visible. I mean, I've only been here back for 2 weeks, and it's busy. Even not being a police officer, you can see that there's an issue. So it's very apparent. So, and that's only being back 2 weeks in. So, but it is being worked on. I'll leave it at that. Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you again for coming in.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
No problem. Yeah.
Thank you.
Anytime.
Okay.
Thank you. Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
No problem.
And hopefully they get your house fixed.
Oh.
Okay.
Thanks.
All right, adoption of minutes. I've got a motion moved by Councillor Wright, seconded by Councillor McPherson, that council approve the minutes of regular meeting RM 15-2022 of August 2nd, 2022 as presented, unless somebody has some amendments.
No amendments, but a question.
Sure.
The resident request for cleanup assistance, was that the one that we're normally concerned about?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, I
so
think it is.
what happened with that? What was the
You know which
decision? I
one
wasn't
on the
at that
corner
meeting.
she's talking about?
This is in those minutes?
Yeah, agenda additions.
I think that was the discussion. Yeah, there was too many vehicles on the lot. Is that the one you're
Yeah.
talking about? Yeah. I think a letter was written.
There was a letter written for sure. But I don't know if that's what this one is it?
Oh, the way it minutes,
This was,
the way the minutes are reading, it sounds like somebody was requesting assistance.
this was, the request for cleanup across the river.
Oh, okay, okay.
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
and
okay.
we did pitch in. I think Mitch helped a bit.
Yeah, there was some assistance there.
Yeah, it was
Okay,
a
so that's what
combined
that
efforts with Noah. Yeah,
Okay,
okay,
so
yeah, that's right.
if a letter was written to that the homeowner, what happened with that?
About that other issue,
Because this says residents request for cleanup assistance carried D.
that was a
Item G.
different topic.
Okay,
Than
then.
what,
Council agreed to table item until the property has been assessed.
yeah, so this is across the river.
Okay, that one.
Yeah.
Resident request for cleanup assistant.
Yeah.
So there's two?
No, not on, that there was just one. Yeah, I'm kind of mistaken. By me saying that had discussion that happened at an earlier meeting, I think. And a letter was written. Okay, but if that's all right, I'll ask for a show of hands to adopt these as presented. All those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, and none against? And moving along to the next item is mayor's report. I do not have a mayor report this evening to give. Does the SAO have a report to give?
Not too much, but just a couple of brief points.
Sure.
Our log structure got completed, as you might have noticed, on the top of the ski hill. The roof. We have some staffing updates. We have an offer has been accepted for bylaw officer, as well as recreation programming coordinator. So those positions will start October 1st. We have
Both those positions?
those positions will start October 1st.
So whose job is it to do bylaw when there's no bylaw officer? Is that your job?
It's my job to make sure it gets done.
Okay,
Not necessarily my job to do it, but it's my job to make sure it gets done.
okay.
We have a staff member leaving administration. And so we're going to be shifting around internally and posting for a receptionist right away. And we also have jobs posted for a water sewer trainee, as well as a certified water sewer operator. So we have a couple of positions open there and some new staff starting soon. We've started moving into the new building. Friday we started the move. Been working over the weekend and we'll continue to work next couple of days to get everything up and running. We're scheduled to open up again to the public on Thursday. Fingers crossed it'll be functional by then. But the finishing touches will continue for the next little while. And that's all I have, Your Worship.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for the SAO? Okay. Thanks, Kevin. Number 9 on our agenda, tabled items and old business, a council vacancy. And we did receive a letter of resignation from our deputy mayor, Rosemary Gill. So this is another vacancy on our council. At the last committee of the whole, I believe we sort of deferred the decision as to whether we would have an election or look at possible appointment by going down a previous election list. That's where it's at right now. But now we're down to 7 on our council. And yes, Councillor Brown.
I suggest we go to election. We have 2 vacant positions. We have 2 more years left in our term. So I suggest we go for election.
Yeah, at least more than a year anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's take that as you're making a motion to
Sure, I'll make the
to
motion.
hold a by-election. To fill 2 vacancies. Okay, anybody want to second that? Okay, I'll go with seconded by Councillor Wright. Okay, well, now it's on the table. Anybody want to discuss it further? You brought it to the table, reasons for going to election
I told you.
being that it's 2, not
Yeah.
1.
Okay, well, 2 and then two vacant positions, right?
Yeah,
And the length of our term left, so.
yeah. And any other discussion?
Question.
Okay, let's have a vote. Show of hands, all those in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So that's what we'll do, one way or another. We'll leave it up to administration to figure out how that's going to be done. All right. Updated capital plan. Everybody got a copy of that. And we did discuss this at our last committee of the whole, although there might be a few minor changes from what we saw last time. And SAO Corrigan, did you want to just go over that again?
Sure.
The main changes were, in case some.
Yeah, what's the new changes?
So all the additions are highlighted. The black and white, it's not as easy to see, but you should be able to tell. So all the new additions are, the majority are under Public Works, which is a grader, loader bucket, flush truck, hot oiler, garage upgrades, sand shed, street sweeper, replacement loader, Quonset bay doors, a new dock, boat lights, and a new dump truck.
See, I told you, Sean, you guys should have went and got that dock when it was floating right beside us.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you and I, we saw
Look at
it.
how much a new dock is.
Reg was gonna go in there. Yeah.
Yeah, he would have kept it.
And also something that we that was approved at our recreation committee meeting quite a while back was some movie theater equipment to host movie nights at the rec center. That's added in there. And also an emergency raw water line, which was purchased.
An emergency what?
Raw water line, and that would be that this is infrastructure in the event that we lost our raw water line off the riverbank. So as the riverbank is eroding, the raw water line that brings raw water from the river to the pump house, or sorry, from the pump house to the water treatment plant. That line is the one that's closest to the river. And so if the river bank were to erode more, there's the potential to lose that line into the river. And so what we've purchased is a line that can be run overground in an emergency.
Oh, this under the water treatment plant stuff.
Correct.
Yeah.
And so there's been minor changes here and there with pushing items from one year to another, but the majority of the changes are those additional items.
Okay, do we need a resolution for that to
We
adopt
do
or approve?
apologies, yeah.
Okay, well, I just wrote it down to approve the updated capital plan
Do you
as
want-
of September 6th, 2022.
Yeah, or you can put the amount if you'd like, either to the amount of.
And I'll just add that in the amount of,
Sorry, there's that number there.
that bottom number there,
9235.
990.
Yep.
Okay. As of September 6th, 2022.
Perfect.
Okay, so can I get a mover for that? Okay, I'll go with Councillor Hassan. How about a seconder? Councillor McPherson? And so you've heard the description of what that was. Any other questions? All right, show of hands. Are all those in favor of adopting this new plan? Okay, 4 in favor, none against. Motion's carried. And recommendation. Oh, sorry. Development Appeal Board appointment. I'll read what the proposed motion is. Councillor, or that SAO Corrigan wrote out here for me. That council appoint Ron Antoine, George Tetzel, Larry Campbell, and Cindy Browning to the Development Appeal Board for a 3-year term beginning September 6, 2022. You knew about that?
You were on this already, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so what we did,
I'm just like.
you're looking confused.
I know that look on her face.
You know,
First
okay,
face.
okay. So two of those individuals were already appointed on this board, Councillor Brandon being one of them. One of the other members, I guess you could say, resigned. Another one of previous members is in conflict on a certain issue that's an appeal that's been lodged. And so instead of adding two more, what we've done is we've just reappointed two and then the two new members. And so they'll be appointed for a 3-year term as of today.
Okay. So if you're okay with that, it's okay?
So it's myself, myself,
Uh,
Ron Antoine,
yeah,
George
Le-
Tetzel, and
Larry Campbell.
Larry Campbell. Okay.
Which George Titzel?
I
Yeah.
have no idea.
I think it's
There's two George.
the young George Tetzel.
Oh, George.
Yeah.
And then the second.
Okay, Councillor Hassan will second that. And so you heard what the resolution was. Any further discussion? All in favor? Okay, 4 in favor, none against. Motion's carried. And now committee minutes and recommendations. Okay, I'm just gonna have to write this out. I guess the right word is adopt, eh? The council adopt the minutes? Approve, adopt?
Adopt, yeah, I guess adopt would be the right word.
Okay, can I get a mover and a seconder for this motion, that council adopt the Public Works Committee minutes?
Actually, I don't believe we have minutes for that meeting.
August 11th?
The public,
Oh,
the
okay.
the public works,
I don't see no.
we have minutes for the committee of the whole, but we do have recommendations coming out for public works.
Okay, well, I'm gonna change that then. And what were those recommendations?
I do not have them in the package, but
We do have the minutes to adopt it at a minimum, right? Or do we bother to do that with committees? I don't think we do.
we don't usually, but usually we approve the,
If you approve the
Recommendation.
recommendation, so I guess we better hear what those are,
so
yeah.
the recommendations were to
In
approve
fact,
the capital.
excuse me, in fact, we adopt the minutes. We adopt the minutes, I think.
Of the committee?
Yeah, there is no, like, we adopt the minutes of the meeting. How are we gonna approve recommendations when we don't have
Yeah. Exactly, yeah.
a backup with how, what's going on? How did we come to that? We come through,
There's a couple of different ways we can deal with this. We can approve the minutes.
And adopt recommendations as a separate.
We don't need, there's nothing to say we actually need adopted minutes of committee meetings. And from what I understand, it's been done, sometimes it's been done, sometimes it hasn't. For committee of the whole usually, but for subcommittee meetings, there hasn't always been minutes
I
adopted.
think what happened was whoever was the chair of that committee just gave a verbal
Right.
of the recommendations.
So we have, I think
let's ask Liza.
I had this planned for I had this all planned for the last meeting that was cancelled, and it's all coming back to me now. So my apologies, but I can tell you what the recommendations were, and that was to amend the truck route. There was changes in rumble strips and the three-way stop.
Right.
The capital plan, which we approved. And I believe that was committee of the whole. A recommendation to postpone the water study till 2023 until after our community plan is finished, which that's been done through our capital plan amendment.
Excuse me.
Yeah,
Sorry.
go ahead, Councillor Hassan.
Can we table this item? Can we
That's
table this
another-
item for, there is
Yeah.
nothing, I don't think
There's-
there is nothing urgent on it right now from what you mentioned. If we can table it until we have the minutes, because the minutes of the meeting, that meeting happened by councillors who was there and what were their recommendations. So we need the
I
set
mean, that
of
was
the
a good
minutes.
summary,
for
but
that.
we should
Yeah,
have it in writing, yeah.
thank you.
Okay,
Everything is tabled out.
all right. Is everybody agreeable to that? We'll just table that till
Can we
Next
have the minutes
meeting?
of the meeting?
Mhm.
we'll have it in writing what the actual,
Who was at that meeting?
I think I was,
I wasn't.
yeah.
I was.
I know it was, like, basically what been gone over there, I think that was, but it'd be just nice to see it in writing for the
Yeah.
councillors that weren't there, and, we'll try to get that together for you.
Apologies for that for next meeting.
Okay.
Okay, but one of the things that did come out of it, and we're gonna table this as well, is the sewer pump out rebate we kind of talked about. Is that something
That's
separate?
committee of the whole, which is coming up at item B.
Okay, so
Yeah.
that's actually what we're on there now, okay. So that one, we have the
Yep, there's minutes of.
minutes are there, okay. Okay. So we're running out of paper. That. If that's the main recommendation that came out of it, and I'm just gonna make it a two sort of
Approve the minutes and accept the
adopt and
recommendation.
and adopt
Yeah.
the minutes, or approve the minutes and adopt the recommendations, yeah. Approve the minutes and adopt the recommendations. Okay, how about that? So the village council approved the W01-2022 and adopt recommendations arising, which have to do with the sewer pump out rebate, right? I'll put in brackets sewer pump out rebate. All right, somebody want to move that one? Good, Councillor Hassan. How about second it? Councillor Wright, okay? All right,
With just little correction on the main minutes, the main sets of minutes in the agenda, it says committee of the whole meeting COW 1/2021. It's 2022.
okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that should be changed in the actual minutes.
It's
of that committee meeting.
2022, yeah.
the second paragraph. Agenda, when it says agenda,
Oh, on the agenda.
it's in the same place.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
on the
I
same
think
place. Go
that's-
to agenda, it says 2021.
It's a minor.
Yeah, it's minor, but
Minor, that could be a
Okay, so
administrative correction.
change that before posting. So any discussion on the sewer pump out rebate? Did you want to just go over that?
Sure. Sure.
I mean, the recommendation, who's the chair of that? Is it
that was that's right.
you, Councillor, right? Okay, did you want to just talk about what we recommended at the end of that meeting?
Okay, what we recommended was $1,000 rebate So move it from 500 to 1,000. And I'm all for that, but it still doesn't follow the policy, right? I know people in town who pay $3,200 a year, right? That's getting pumped out once a week. So the $1,000 does not cover their cost. So the only way we can follow the policy is either contract it out or do it ourselves. And everywhere I've gone in the last month, Hay River Fort I talked to does not pay for sewer pump out. It's included in their water, which is what the policy that we're supposed to do.
And certainly, like, I think from the committee, we're not against looking at future options to see how we can maybe improve further, but it was $1,000, and that's retroactive for this year.
Yes, but
This calendar year, right?
we should be looking at following the policy, right? If we get money or funded for water and sewer, we should be following their policy.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I don't want to rehash that whole
Well-
debate we had at our meeting, but I'm not against what you're saying. I think it's just for other reasons, some of which we're trying to ease our way into such a situation where we could provide that to all our residents would certainly be it would be desirable. It would be something that we can work towards. I agree. But for now, this is the motion. And SAO Corrigan, go ahead.
I just wanted to point out that I have been talking to Maka a number of times and sharing our water sewer bylaw, discussions around the policy. And I have asked for an opinion or recommendation from Maka on council rights perspective that we're not following the policy. I haven't got anything back from them yet, but I'm hoping to get something back from them. I've also asked if they'd be interested in talking to council or having someone discuss the water sewer policy, how the funding formula works and that sort of thing.
Yeah, I mean, this is maybe even something, this is off to the side. WTAC, pushing for the formula funding. The review was held like 5-6 years ago. We were $3 million underfunded as a community out of a total of $40 million underfunding in the whole NWT. The territorial government's addressed the $40 million underfunding by about $5 million. It's still got a long ways to go. I think if we were properly funded, what you're suggesting it'd be an easy thing to do. It's something that I should push up in the NWTAC, questioning when does the government intend to address the deficit, the formula funding deficit. Like, we're not getting enough money to actually do all the needs, take care of all the needs in our own communities right now. And that's why we try to do what we can. Is Councillor right?
were we not making money at our water delivery? I remember bringing this up at maybe not the last meeting, maybe maybe it was a meeting we had about the sewer. Were we not making money at the water?
We were seeing a surplus that was
Yeah, surplus.
that was put into water sewer.
Capital, the expense fund.
Yeah,
That fund.
and so that was building, but the idea of that is that it builds up. So when water sewer projects, we have a fund to draw from, because major water sewer that it'll eat up millions very quickly.
Yeah, I wasn't at that meeting, but I've always been confused about the sewer pump out service that we get in Fort Simpson. Like, normally, like, the municipality does that. Are we in a contract with the agent that delivers this? There's no contract?
no
It just
No.
went on its own and started doing this. Is there any situation where we can address that?
It's up to council.
You know, because it's,
This is the policy there, if you wanna.
yeah, because most municipalities, like the municipality takes care of both.
Yeah, if
not-
you're
it's
charging
not-
for water, you're picking up the sewer.
So I think, I'm not sure how that transpired. Maybe we should do some bit of research and see how it transpired and how we can move forward.
Mhm.
I think that's what we are gonna do,
Yeah.
as you say.
Yeah,
It's just that process could take a little while. In the meantime,
yeah, because,
This policy came out in 2017, that's 5 years ago.
yeah, but, yeah, I know the policy's there, but it's just the way that the whole
That we-
situation is now.
kind of complex.
Yeah, it has never been questioned by anybody, not even us as a council, you know, as to how it happened and,
Mhm.
you know, and just put in front of
Yeah,
us.
so, yeah, all those new houses they put up there are gonna be pump outs, so they're gonna be stuck with a $3,400 a year bill. That should be included in their water delivery.
I think we should do a bit of research and see what kind of legal grounds we have to say this is a service that as a municipality we should be delivering
Mhm.
and sort of rein it in a bit and have
Mhm.
some negotiations.
Yeah, like I said before, I've been discussing all of this with Macca.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And I know they're very, like I've asked for an opinion or a recommendation, but I know they're very cautious about interfering in like, you know, every community does things their own way. And so they have to be very careful about not interfering in what's.
Yeah, but
our
this is why
business.
I'm saying we got to do the research. We got to find out when it started and how. You know, who authorized this independent
Yeah.
situation. You know,
Yeah.
because we have no control over it,
We
and
don't know.
it's a service that we deliver.
That we're supposed to deliver.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
supposed to deliver.
Councillor Hassan.
Thank you. I believe I agree with the council, right? But on our meeting, we decided that we're gonna give them, reimburse them $1,000, and I remember the SAO mentioned that up to $1,000 he have the money to cover that. That does not mean that if we go back and review and we owe them more, we can give them whatever, even retroactive, we can give them whatever we owe them as a municipality. But for now, I think we should approve the motion and look into the whole issue that whatever we owe the residents, we should give it back to them. Thank you.
Yeah, I think we do need to look into it a lot more. I think this is a halfway measure, for sure, but, you know,
This
we will
is,
look into it.
this is a start,
You know.
right?
I think at first last year it was 500, and now this year it's up to 1,000 for those that utilize the services. It's for the private homeowners, is it? No, residential.
Residential.
Yeah.
Residential.
And I think the way it's projected, this won't necessarily cause any increases to our water and sewer rates. That's another important thing. Anything else might start to impact that. So it's a big discussion, right?
Well, we should have either a public meeting or, right?
Councilor Browning?
Or go, I like the SAO's suggestion of getting MACA in to explain their
I
formula
remember you
funding, maybe
saying,
in
let's
regards
have them
to,
here.
right?
Yeah.
Like, and I don't think it's for them to say this is good or this is bad, like they're worried about, just give us the,
Straight talk.
yeah.
Okay.
It's gonna
Not-
be more than that.
They don't need to tell us how to do it, they just need to provide the information of what they're giving us and how their funding works for the water sewer.
SAO Corley?
Yeah, so there's two issues. There's what we're mandated to do and what council want to do, what council feels is the right thing to do moving forward. So I think that's what we should plan for. If council want to start paying for the water and sewer moving forward, then the sewer pumps, we should plan for that for January 1st. It's going to be budget time pretty soon. Well, more than likely there would have to be an increase in water rates across the board to pay for sewer pump outs. And if that is something council want to do, we also need to decide, do we put out a contract? Do we continue with a rebate? And so that's something that council also need to decide. I do believe that we are complying with the policy. We are ensuring that there is pump out service available for everyone in the community. If there was no contractor in town fulfilling that service, it would be our responsibility to make sure that the service was available. The service is available. In saying that, whether or not it's fair is another question altogether. So
That was what I was getting at,
I think
the
that
fairness of it.
If there's a consensus amongst council, maybe another community meeting to discuss how it's going to roll out. Might be an
Yes.
idea.
Yeah.
And
With
to
Mac
look at,
available.
and to look at numbers as well, right? Like cost. Like, will there have to be an increase to water rates across the board?
Well, yeah, it's gonna increase by a little bit.
There are lots of variables. It's tough to say how much, if it went out as a contract, it's very tough to say how much it would cost. My preliminary guess was that if we increase water rates by roughly 20% across the board, then I believe that might pay for sewer pump outs.
Okay, so, but for now, this is the resolution in front of us, that village council approved the minutes of the COW 01-2022 and adopt the recommendations arising in brackets up to $1,000 sewer pump out rebate. Show of hands, all those in favor. Okay, I got 4 in favor, none against. All right, so that one's carried. And that's, it's a retroactive, I'm just gonna write that in, retroactive to January 1, 2022, right?
Yeah.
It's for the full year. That was the recommendation. Okay. New business, Habitat for Humanity. This was a presentation done by Habitat and a request if,
You have that resolution?
I don't, oh, it is, there you go. I don't have to do a lot of talking. Okay. I got a motion moved by Councillor Wright, seconded by Councillor McPherson, that council donate lot 553, plan 2884 to Habitat for Humanity for the purpose of building an affordable family home. Further, that the village commit to some clearing and assistance with site preparation. Okay, SAO Corrigan, you want to add anything to that?
It's purposely a little bit vague, as in we want to commit to helping out more, but we're not.
Can't put a dollar figure on it or anything.
Yeah, we just want to keep a bit of flexibility there. So we do want to help and assist as much as we can to make sure to hopefully see this project through. If Fort Simpson is selected, it'll come back to council in the form of a bylaw to actually formally transfer that lot over. But for now, this is the commitment we're giving to Habitat for Humanity, and then we'll just have to wait and see if Fort Simpson's selected or not.
Okay. Everybody knows
When
where.
do we know if we're selected?
We should hear. They've said we should hear
Yeah.
later in September.
Okay, yeah, that's right.
I think they're really favorable.
Where's lot 553?
That's one beside Gillanders?
Where?
Gillanders?
Oh, okay, yeah,
That's right
yeah.
on the other side of the
Yeah.
ditch, you might say. Okay, yep. All right, all those in favor?
Oh, yes.
4 in favor, none against. Okay, motion's carried. We have a letter of request from Beaver Tail.
I don't know what that is.
Is
Give
that
it a tail off in the sky.
Open Sky, I think, is what we had.
Yeah.
Oh, my apologies.
Yeah, Open Sky. And were we able to give them what they were asking? I think it was rent. waiving the rent on the hall.
We indicated that more than likely council will be consistent with previous years and there won't be a bill for hall rental for Open Sky Festival. I wonder also if council might consider, we could amend the fees and not now, but we could amend the fees and rate schedule to allow for administration to request for waiving fees for nonprofit organizations for community events. So that all these
I
requests don't
want-
have to go
yeah.
before council.
I think that has to have some discussion. I think we're getting carried away and giving all our services away for free, especially when we're upping everything else.
Okay, well, I wrote it out here that council waive rental costs of the community hall for the Open Sky Festival 2022. That's what's being asked.
Yeah.
Anybody want to move and second that? Okay, Councilor Hassan will move it. Anybody going to second it?
I'll second.
Okay, Councilor McPherson will second it. Any discussion on that motion? Okay, all those in favor?
Can you just change it on the minutes, letter of request, Open Sky instead of Beavertail?
Oh, yeah, we'll have to change that before we post it on the website.
Yeah.
Okay, so 4-0, and the motion's carried. Now we have vet clinic. Some information here. SAO Corrigan, did you want to let us know what's going on here?
I was hoping
Councilor
Councilor
Bellefontaine
Belfine
would
to be
be
here, but that's okay. We've got a vet clinic scheduled for October 26th to the 30th.
Are they driving in?
I thought it was September.
This is like Vets Without Borders.
I thought it was September.
I thought it was September.
They're gonna have trouble if they're trying to drive then.
The poster they gave me, so I just thought now it says October, so, but I believe it's September. I will confirm and we'll get that posted and we'll get the word out. But in the meantime, we have a price list from them that I've sent around to council. I just sent that out the end of the day, right before the meeting, I believe.
Oh, right before the meeting.
And I know there was some interest among some councillors to help with the cost of spaying or neutering to reduce to help reduce future strays or the potential for future strays. Canine spay is $300. Feline neuter is $200. There's a canine spay and neuter $300 each. Is that something that council would wish to do? Is to allocate any funding towards families that maybe can't afford to pay that?
What's your threshold for that? We've had this discussion before and nobody really knows a threshold,
I don't have a threshold.
right? So,
If there was a threshold, that would be something council would.
yeah.
Can we just say that there's a few $1,000s that at the discretion of administration, they could use it in cases where they know that it's a problem dog or something.
So where do you get
and no
that money
one's-
from?
We have,
Taxpayers, I
we
guess.
had funds allocated for 2 vet clinics
Mhm.
for the year, but we're only having 1 this year.
And how much funds did you have allocated for a vet clinic?
10,000 per vet clinic.
And how much is it costing us so far to bring them in?
It'll be around about 10,000
To bring them in?
to bring them in and run the clinic.
Okay. And that's not including that?
That's not, no,
A subsidy part.
this is what residents will pay to.
Mhm.
Now, if we were in Young Life,
It'd
We
be
went
triple
through
that,
that.
it'll be double that.
it would be a lot
Triple.
more.
Yeah.
So that's pretty good pricing for here.
It is good pricing. So, if we were to offer a subsidy on top of this, there'd be, the way I see it, there's 3 options. Is one, we offer the same thing to everyone across the board. 2, we set certain criteria, and 3, we put it out there that if residents wish to request assistance with the fee, then we look at it on a case-by-case
Yeah.
basis, or we approve requests based on the number of requests versus the amount of funds we have available.
So what kind of funds were you thinking of having available to assist with that, over above the 10,000?
What I'd like to see is, like, I know there's plenty of people in town who can afford it, and it's not a problem. The majority of the dogs that will cause problems, i.e. Have litters in the future and create more strays around town. A lot of those problem dogs, the owners won't pay $5 for a spay or neuter, never mind $300. And so for those specific dogs, and a lot of there's a lot of problem dogs that are consistently problem dogs, and they're having litter after litter after litter. I'd like to do some outreach with those owners and offer assistance to get the dog to the vet clinic and to get them spayed and neutered, and to pay, if necessary, to cover the cost. It's very difficult to do without offering money to one person and not another.
Yeah.
But if there's a way we can figure out a way of doing it, that's my goal. My goal is to reduce strays in the future.
Do we have lots of strays? don't think
no,
so.
because
Puppy
we've
litters.
been,
We do have puppy litters, which
Where?
we end up housing at the dog pound, and then now the SPCA, they're overloaded to the point they can't take anymore, so it becomes a sort of a dog humanitarian problem. Like, who's supposed to do something? It falls on us through our dog bylaws, and so you could look at it as spend a pinch of prevention to prevent the pound to cure later.
it'll cut down on cost it'll cut down on pound fees that we pay in the future.
What do we pay for pound fees? Where do we see that, like, that information?
Yeah, there is no,
Like, where do we see what we pay
There's
for
a
pound
fee,
fees?
for a month for every dog time. Every night a dog is in the pound. There's a
Mhm.
fee per night. I don't know what it is off the top of my head. I'd have to look it up.
Okay, so
What is that? What is
what's
that?
budgeted, like, what's budgeted?
It will be in the budget.
I know, but where is it? I don't,
It's on
because
yours.
I don't
I
think
it's
I've
like
ever
about
seen
30
it.
bucks or something a day per dog.
I know, but I'm asking, what have you allocated for that? What have you spent on dogs per day, to visits to the pound, visits to the spa?
Yeah.
I'd have to look at.
And again, in theory, you
Yeah.
should be able to collect from the owners, but if the owners don't want to pay and they don't want the
Then you're
dog
stuck
back,
with the dog.
what are you doing? Now it just costs more and more money, and what do? Take them out and shoot them? If you don't like that.
They used to do.
Yeah,
Save us money.
Danny was really good at it.
Okay, Council Wright?
All kidding aside.
the dog pound, that has to go out to tender.
It really does,
It-
because
it
it's such
does.
an issue.
Like-
It's an issue.
Like right soon.
So, because
I would vote on that right now.
It can be looked at, yeah.
And on to the next agenda.
And there are, I would say, more services than that we use on a regular basis that we don't tender. They're just utilized consistently, and it's kind of as and when, and nobody really pays much attention to it. But we can look at that.
We have to put that out to tender.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
So can you look at that for the next meeting? Either vote on it or,
Yeah, we should decide what we're actually asking for, I suppose.
for a dog pound,
Yeah.
right? With how much do we charge per month and,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Is there an actual contract right now?
No,
don't think
I
so.
don't think there's a contract, no.
Then we as a village have to, you have to show people where the money's going, or, right? So it has to be tendered.
Okay, Council Brownlee?
I think before I'm comfortable with saying, let's pay for those fees or pick a few families that we think or they don't, they don't do anything with their dogs or pay for their dogs, is that I would like to see costs of what that would be, like what our
Kind
costs
of get
would
an
be.
estimate of,
Yeah, just an
what dogs are
estimate,
we
because I
talking
know we
about?
don't have no bylaw in place right now, and I know, like, I don't do, like, under our budgets, is there a separate budget line for dogs? Like because I think when we think of bylaw, we always think that everything about dogs goes under the bylaw, right? But do we have like a separate budget line, like we were talking about dog pound, we're talking about those vet fees, or like even if the dog pound fees, do we get that back, or does the person get them? Like is there a contract with that person? Like, I wouldn't mind seeing more,
Okay. Let's
some research, some,
table any
numbers to it.
discussion about any help until we get more information on
Yes.
how the dog pound's running and the budgeting around it right now.
Well-
Maybe an estimate of how many dogs we're talking about here, so we know.
I think that just go out to tender,
Yeah,
right? You know, if we hose 4 dogs, let's say, you know,
just so
At
that
the
we know what
max.
we're even looking at to bring to the vet. If there's a certain
Yeah.
amount, like, we don't have no
yeah.
reports
Well, we're
about a
kind of
dog
talking about two
pound.
different things. You're talking about how many dogs we're going to neuter, and you're talking about the contract, so.
well,
Yeah.
yeah,
Agreed,
it's-
we'll talk about the committee, at the committee of the whole, about the potential of doing the contract, and we'll have information on how many dogs we're talking about.
when's the next
In the
committee
short
of the
term for this
whole?
vet. If we are looking at assisting, in what way? Okay, we'll have more information.
When-
Council Ray,
When's the next committee of the whole?
next week,
Could be next Monday.
I think the summer,
October 11th. is the
oh,
next-
well, we better find out,
What the schedule
Well, I
is.
believe this is, I thought it was September 26th, not October.
Yeah,
Well,
maybe even
yeah.
check with that before then anyway, right, Kevin?
Yeah.
We have a meeting in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
unless something changes, let's just try to get the information. Unless something changes, let's just try to get the information. I mean, I like it that the rates are pretty cheap.
That's- And that's good for people,
Yeah.
for our community,
It's a really
right?
good
Oh,
deal.
yeah.
We can push that.
If I had a dog, love that.
All right, so
Mine's already used, poor thing.
11D, which is consultation on the lease application. And that's associated with the SO property. They want to do some well site testing just slightly off the property towards the Mackenzie River side to see if there's any leaching of petroleum products, I guess, towards the river. That's what's being asked.
Isn't that where
It's
the,
Parsons
is-
Limited? That must be a subcontractor for us.
Is that where Canoe North
Well,
trailer is
they'll have to
still
move
parked
that
there?
first, I guess.
There's,
Like that,
squatting.
I thought, yes,
Yeah.
squatting, and I thought we had talked about this at our previous council, that we requested it for them to remove it.
If it didn't get moved?
Nope.
It's
Oh, yeah.
still
Still
there.
there?
Oh, tell them
It's
to
still
move
They
it.
there.
had
They
said
need
they
to
were
move
moving
it.
it.
No,
They
no,
need
no.
They said,
I mean,
"But
they
the
have their
next day
steps
after
out
that."
and everything, like they're living in there for. I
yeah,
don't know.
they're-
Summer's over. Tell them to
Yes.
get it out of there.
Well, and not to just, we need to do a better job. That's why my question was who's responsible for bylaws earlier, is that there's some things we need to do a better job at, right?
Yeah.
And as a whole, I'm not just saying one person or whatever, like as a whole village and council.
Well, it's not really fair that, businesses can set up on the
Yeah.
side of the street without.
Okay.
Yeah, and I
Information.
thought we had dealt with that already.
Yeah.
who is this person's Inc.?
They worked, I believe they worked for ESSO, and so they would be drilling and monitoring to detect whether or not there's any contamination from that site, from the ESSO site.
How long is the lease for? I know, I
10
saw.
years.
10 years.
10 years.
Now,
I don't agree with that. It
Yeah.
shouldn't take them that long to figure it out.
Okay, SAO Corrigan?
so we've been talking to Parsons about this. That should be lease owned by the municipality because it should be part of the road right away.
That's what I noticed by the
That's what I
pictures.
was
And
looking at.
so should be part of the road right away.
That's what I
And that's-
noticed by the
that's what I was
pictures.
And
looking at.
so, you know, one of the suggestions we made to Parsons, because there's a few areas in the island that we should have a lease in that we don't. What we plan to do is wait till the community plan was finished, and then do a bulk lease application for all of these areas. So we're all up to date. And what we indicated to Parsons is that we are not opposed to some drilling and testing. I think that's something that, not to speak for council, but I believe that's something everyone would be supportive of, is to know what kind of contamination there is, there might be. And so if we do a lease application for that parcel, and then give them permission to do drilling,
Yeah.
that'd be more appropriate.
Yeah, Councillor Wright?
If they're doing this for Esso, why don't they just do it like on Esso's property, 10 feet back?
I can't answer that.
I think just from the descriptions in there, it seemed like they want to test if it's coming off the property. And so they want to be slightly off,
If it's
migrating down towards the river.
I didn't realize one for 10 years, that was just.
Councillor Hassan?
For me, this issue is just look like mess. They didn't even fix the problem in their property. Right now, they want to lease out of the property. You know, honestly, that property they have to fix their problem. They don't even have the decency to even put the fence together. Honestly, I'm personally against giving them the lease right now. Although it might not be my personal call, but I'm going to hold them accountable on what their property, which they have already. You guys did not even figure the problem in your own home. You want to go and try to find a way. It's going to be their responsibility even in million years if there is any contamination on the road, because they did not fix the problem. Let them deal with the source of the problem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, and I think it's fair enough to say wait until the village has its opportunity to put in lease applications for our road right-of-ways and things like that. It looks like it just impinges right on our road, so
That's what I think.
you could end up with a drill well basically right in the ditch,
of the road,
or,
the ditch,
you know, where
which
now,
can cause more problems.
yeah, we'll be liable for, you know, busting their drill well site. And I think it's fair enough too to ask that before we take another look at this, that we want Esso to fix the fencing around their property. Because, you know, it's still it was damaged during the flood, and it does not look pretty. I think that they can put that fence back up, and then we'll figure out our leasing and get back to them.
So can we write a letter to that extent that we want them to clean up that properity? Because
I think we should.
have we done that yet?
Have you not?
I don't think we did.
It went to the media anyway.
Yeah, it was in the. I mean, Esso was last year. They made $28 billion profit. That was profit, and I think it's
So can we
after
get,
the flood.
I'm
Everybody
pretty sure
here.
we talked about this already. Can we get a letter to Esso
I think
for,
we have to find out who to send it to. Yeah, like there's got to be someone.
well, yeah. There should be an NWT.
It doesn't look good because if that's how they're dealing with the underground problem, how they take care of the above ground problem.
But if we haven't called them and actually
haven't done
told
it.
them,
Yeah.
No.
right? But then maybe they don't know there's a problem.
Yeah, well, they
Right.
don't read the
Maybe they don't
media
read
then,
Facebook.
or maybe they don't see cabin radio or some other things. But yeah, it's been talked about in the media. Because, you know, basically everybody else in the village cleaned up their property except for Imperial Oil. And none of us made $28 billion.
I'll do it for
Yeah.
half that.
So there's a couple concerns, yeah. Enough to say we're withholding support of this. As a matter of fact, we're against it
I would say.
until a couple of things are
Mhm.
put in order with our own development plan and with their property. Okay. Bylaws, there's nothing. Correspondence and information, we have 2 applications for timber cutting permits from 2 local guys. So, any objections, any reason to withhold supporting those?
Nope.
Do they ask us for a support letter or just if we have any
Just
objections?
if there's an objection.
Okay, nobody has any, then we don't need a motion. And council matters and concerns, so maybe, does anybody have any tonight? Okay, Councilor Browning?
Just something that was brought to my attention is like, where we did all the clear cutting on top of the hill for fire breaks and stuff.
Yeah.
Someone had suggested planting grass.
Right,
If
sort of
on
seed
those,
it.
if you seed it, then the trees won't come back, or I don't know how
Won't
true that
come
is.
back
I don't know.
'cause,
But if you plant grass,
yeah.
then less of that stuff comes back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, hydro seeded or do
Yeah.
something, right?
Become a nice walking.
That's a good
And it could become a nice, walking trail.
recreational walking area. Okay, Councilor Wright?
They've got that low bush clover, whatever it's called,
Hmm,
right? Only
Natural.
grows this high, right? 5 inches. And you don't have to mow it or anything like that.
well, let's,
And it's like the same grass seed, just throw it down and
okay, maybe, let's take a look at how, I know it's being mulched,
yeah, it's looking really good.
and if,
We do
suitable
that,
for
or-
some kind of seeding, maybe we should, because, you're just causing more problems later. Like, it's cheaper to put the clover down and prevent a lot of this willow growth.
Is
Otherwise,
clover an invasive species?
No, it's all
Mm.
old.
Oh, okay. Well, I know it's
Yeah.
all over, but
I
it's
guess
an
something
invasive.
that, yeah, that's sort of natural, like
To
they
the
use on the
area?
pipelines and stuff or whatever, and
Yep.
yeah, maybe if we could ask administration to just take a look at that, whether, what would the cost of that be? If we were gonna do it, should we do it before winter, seed it, or, that would be a nice use of the area, as you say, open it for a little bit of trails and stuff.
I have one more,
Okay,
and it still concerns the one property in town with all the vehicles outside of it.
mhm.
I know we said we wrote a letter to them, to the property owners in regards to removing it. Could we go a step further and offer our assistance to help move it?
We've done that. There's been numerous back and forth conversations. I'm confident that something will change before the snow flies.
Mm.
Okay.
It's been,
Yeah, I heard that, well, today, a recycler from Alberta came up and took a whole bunch of batteries and things like that off the property. I know that from talking to the owner. So that was something too.
Yeah.
I mean, let's start. I think he knows, he got a letter and he knows that he's been doing a little bit, but the more we can help, the better,
Composting. That's something that I know when I go to Yellowknife and other communities that they're starting to get into like providing composting bins to households. Are we ever going to go that route? Because I know we had in our plan up at the dump that we're going to have a composting
Right.
site where we were going to eventually have our own dirt.
That would be good.
Because like it just makes me cringe every time I have to throw something in the garbage and I know it could be composted. So is there a plan or is there a way that we can look into that? Because
Sure.
I think it's.
Yeah, okay, SAO program.
we are developing a compost facility at the landfill. It's in the capital plan. It's mandated by Mackenzie Valley Land and Water Board that we compost our sewage sludge. Once that's up and running, and we plan to start composting this fall. So there's been some site work. Yeah, like I said, we plan to start composting our sewage sludge this fall. Once that's up and running, anything can be added to that, food waste.
Yeah.
Now, because it's of the biosolids we're composting, the chances of that ever getting to a good enough quality that we can actually use it for gardens is very slim. It's much stricter criteria around compost that contains biosolids. And so, we would compost it with the aim of having it suitable to use as on the landfill, not to be actually used in the garden. So if council wanted compost that could be used in gardens, it would have to be a separate compost facility.
Yeah, would that be expensive?
Capital costs aren't too bad, but it's the maintenance would be a bit of work.
I know you guys got lots of money out there
Mhm.
for just that sort of thing. Not only for, village or band or whatever, because they're doing it in the Hanny Butte, Trunk Lake. Trunk Lake's got a wicked garden, like a
Oh, they do an awesome
check it out
job.
the last time I was there. Amazing. But yeah, they collect from houses once a week or something. Yeah,
they've got all
every
that
place you
plan.
go, there's like a composting bin.
Because even like, it doesn't have to be at the dump, like, I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
like, because, there's been talk about greenhouses and, like the education. At one point, we're gonna build 2 big greenhouses in the community, I don't know where that is now, and it's just, so there's all these little plans that keep coming forward, we don't see anything happening, and it just saddens me that, or even provide the stuff, the bins or whatever, so like everything's standardized. So not everybody has to go like, I don't know, you should maybe talk to ITI and see what we can do, because it's just sad that there's so much waste that can be composted.
Yeah.
Right. So it's just an idea for further discussion.
Okay, let's
I
do
have
that.
one more
Suggestion,
concern.
yes, Councillor Brownie.
The use of this building. What are we going to do with this building? What is the talk of this building?
Well, it's come up around council a number of times. It's since before this council, it's come up for discussion, and different groups have expressed an interest in taking it over, but no group has gone further than expressed an interest. And so as it stands right now, nothing's happening with it right now. It's still going to be the visitor information center. We're still owning it. We're still going to maintain it. It most likely won't get used much during the winter. There was one good suggestion of using it as a youth center. So that's something we could put some money into, making it suitable, keeping it as a visitor information center, but also use it for the youth. It's an expensive building to run, so I'd like to see council come to some kind of consensus and move forward one way or another, because it is an expensive building to run.
By expensive, you mean 50,000 a year expensive? Or
I can't remember. I'll have to look back.
We'll put that on the agenda
Yeah.
for the discussion. Keep it on the agenda.
Yeah.
because if we can turn it into a youth center and somebody else pays that 50,000.
That's the key, like, if somebody's covering all the fixed and operating, like the operating costs, really, I mean, we don't have to be making money, we just need all the
Pay for the fuel and the
variable
heat.
costs getting covered.
To be practical, can we put that on the next meeting agenda, as is very important, and let us guys move on this issue.
Yeah, it is an ongoing concern, so.
So what do you want
For the
done?
next meeting, if we could
The next
have it
cal.
next meeting, because we have to figure out, take a
The
decision.
new building?
This one.
I mean,
Because there's a bit of history,
Yeah,
council's talked quite a bit about it.
We still need a visitor center,
Mhm.
we still
Yeah.
used to- we
Well,
still-
yeah. But a guy can put a wall there and, right, they can come in through that door.
That's pretty
And then-
pitiful looking visitors.
Yeah,
This other 40 or 50, 60% of the building could be
Yeah, it can be,
leased out
yeah.
or.
okay, so, moving along, we've got, in camera, 2
Oh, before that,
items. Yeah.
I do have few. I
Oh,
thought.
yeah,
I thought it was just, I thought only me, I
Yeah.
spoke so far.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, go ahead, Councillor Hassan.
I'm good.
Okay, I have 3 issues, in fact. The first one is my condolences to the Monroe family on their dad. One of their son, Clayton, used to be a counselor here, and he will be really missing the community. That's one. The second thing is the property beside Gordon Thompson. That property, that dilapidated, run-down garbage property, which used to be the gas station or whatever. I know that when the tax sale happened, and that's from what I talked to the owner of the property or Thompson. So that building is laying in the middle between two properties, and no one wanted to take care of it. So when I talked to them, they were willing even to contribute to clean that area. It's honestly, it's a very ugly like face of the town here, that very rundown, dilapidated property. I don't know if we at the village, because that property is going on the tax sale, why don't we find a way to to deal with Mr. Thompson to clean the property and add it to the 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 cost of the tax, or at least we're going to have a clean area. That's one topic. I'll bring it to the next meeting anyway. I'm going to bring it on the next meeting if the council is okay with that, because it have to be approved by the council, and I don't think it's more than $5,000 to clean it. And the guy deserves a good property beside his house. The third issue is the fencing on the lookout. It's a very beautiful, nice lookout, but I noticed few times that like bears. I noticed bears few times there. So bears, they like climbing. They like. It's a very nice place. Is there any way we could have a fence at least, so it can be protected, though the bears cannot go climb on that in the summer?
Where?
The lookout.
tower.
Oh, the lookout on the hill?
Yes.
Like up there?
You
Yeah.
saw bears up there?
I didn't say bears, but it's possible.
The bears
I
won't
don't
climb
know.
that.
No, it's treated.
But it's possible.
The bears
I
won't
don't
climb
know.
that.
No, it's treated like
They-
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't
Okay.
think they'll clean that. They'll climb
So
that.
these are the three items I have. Thank you.
Okay, all right, thank you, Councilor Hassan. All right, so in camera, we have two items. Do you want a short break or just go right into it? Okay.
Go right into it.
Okay, so let's turn this owl camera off. Let us know when that happens.